shadows are gone. Sparking nights across the sky. Truth comes rolling in high. Hear the drum of the unheard. Feel the power of the word. We rise from dark to light. Cut through the lies, ignite. Truth breaking through the noise. Justice in our voice. From the silence to the fight. This is dawn and justice. Let's rise. Across the wire, through the storm, we won't conform, we won't be warned. Every voice, every sign, we draw the waking line. Screens light up, the message clear. No more running, no more fear. From the ashes, from the night, we carry forward burning light. Dark to light, night to dawn. Truth lives on. We press on. We rise from dark to light. Cut through the lies, ignite. Truth breaking through the noise. Justice in our voice. From the silence to the fight. We stand together in the light. This is dawning justice, let's rise. This is dawning justice, let's rise.
Good morning, everyone. I am Josh the Justice Cometh, and this is Dawning Justice. This is basically turned into an anything and everything kind of show. You know, sometimes we preach from the pulpit, sometimes we go over the news, sometimes we go over the drops, and sometimes we just do it all. So welcome in this morning. Man, it is going to be such an incredible day today. We have got Trump's speech on the horizon. We've got 2020 election interference on the horizon. We have got disclosure coming out day after day after day after day. And it's almost so much that you just can't keep up with it all. It's like it's going. Do you remember the White House posting speed the other day in the race car? Yeah, that's it. And ladies and gentlemen, if you think it's fast now, wait till after tonight. I'm telling you guys, it's going to be an epic night tonight. Starting tomorrow, you're going to see the MSM go crazy. It probably won't be in the morning. It'll probably be tonight. It'll probably be overnight. They will probably be working overtime tonight, discrediting our president, Donald J. Trump, and the evidence that he is fixing to bring forth with D-Class tonight. So again, welcome in, everyone. We are broadcasting from Rumble. So if you're one of my Rumblers, make sure you give me that thumbs up. If you're over on YouTube, that's a thumbs up as well. So thank you so much. And if you're on X, if you could give me that heart and give me that repost, I would very, very much appreciate that. We are gaining new viewers every single day, and I thank everyone for that, because that's not me, that's you helping me out. So I very, very much appreciate that. We are also live on pill.net. So if you're lurking over there and listening, just give me a quick, hey, how's it going? You know, just check in. And we are also broadcasting from Facebook, and I already see a little bit of love going over there on Facebook. So thank you so much. Yeah, Patriarch Lucas says, no sleep for the peeps tonight. Guys, listen. It's, usually I have to go to bed, to get up at a decent time to do this show. But tonight on Tracing Justice, we're starting at 8 p.m., so we're going to roll right into POTUS's speech, and then if we've got any time afterwards, we're going to be having a roundtable on Tracing Justice, and then we're going to raid right into the rapid fire news and bring our panel over to the rapid fire news tonight, so we continue. That's how big that we think that this is going to be tonight. So let's go through, guys. I've got some news. I've got a lot of news today, actually. I've got a couple of long videos that we're going to watch, from Vance. We've got some stuff on aliens, Hunter Biden. I'm going to push back against the whole U.S.-Israel, merger that's supposed to happen that's not really happening, and we're going to put some clarification on that. Let's see here. We've got a little bit of Paul Pelosi, a little bit of Epstein stuff. So we've got a full docket, and then after I get through all of that, we're going to try to go over some of Trump's True Social posting spree and maybe do a little bit of decoding off of that. We've had some comms come out yesterday. One that I need to pull up that I forgot to put on my list here was Clandestine's 11.3. So I do want to go over that because I think, in my opinion, that 11.3 might be fixing to be verified. And we'll go over that. We will go over that. So just remember, though, Dawning Justice is brought to you every morning by JusticeRooms.com and JusticePetClub.com. Fantastic folks over there. Everything is made and sourced from the USA, and it's just what God gave us. We are taking in a pill form, or you're giving to your animals in like a biscuit form or whatever, what God gave us to use. The mushrooms, they're all over our planet. 81% of the planet is covered in mushrooms. So you might think that that might be important to check out. So for us, this is the most important one. It's the Enforce Coriolis Versicolor. And also, there is this one right here. It's called the Enforce Plus. It's got the Coriolis Versicolor plus the PSP and the PSK for immune wellness. That's going to be important, immune wellness. Now, for your pets, this is going to be the biggest one, the Mush Puppies. It's got the Coriolis Versicolor in a biscuit form for your animals. And if you also have like a cat, they've got the special sauce for the cats to put on their food. Because, cats might not eat a dog biscuit. So, but I'm telling you guys, it's so incredibly life-changing. And I do want to show this video real quick about the mushrooms.
You've likely heard it in the news. You've read it on your social feeds, and maybe you've even had friends who have lost a pet prematurely to cancer or other ailments. It's an enormous problem. It's a painful problem. It's a difficult problem to solve. However, over 90% of the people who've tried our natural supplements have found the solution.
We took Scout on a walk about a week after we started using the Mush Puppies, and he would walk the entire way. It's just been completely amazing. He's a new dog. We lost our boxer Yankee about a year and a half ago, and it was really hard on us. Imagine if you could have your best friend around one more day or one more week or even one more year.
It makes us feel really good that the food and treats that we give him have healthy ingredients in them because we want him to be around for a really long time. Our previous dog was a lab, and we fed him in bulk, and we would just get his food from the big box grocery stores. Unfortunately, that food wasn't very healthy for him, and he ended up getting cancer and passing away. So we didn't want to make that mistake with Bubba. So we were really fortunate to find Pet Club.
I really love Pet Club, especially because of my dog Mercedes. She's a German Shepherd and Rottie mixture. Those types of dogs have stomach issues and also arthritis issues. Now, through giving her mush puppies, within 2 weeks, she was jumping up on the bed. She was acting like a brand new dog, and I don't even give her any pain medication anymore. She doesn't throw up anymore. So we're just so happy that her last years of her life, she's going to be happy as well.
Mush ponies are so exciting for us because we have a mounted patrol officer here in Boulder City. Odie's a 19-year-old horse. He suffers from Cushing's. Cushing's affects the way he walks. We started Odie on mush ponies, and 4 days later, his owner called us and said, I can't believe how much better he's walking. 3 weeks later, Odie was filmed in Las Vegas with Shania Twain walking the strip like a champ.
Precious has a very large lump. It's going down in size over the last couple of weeks that we've been using it. Allergies in her eyes that used to leave really long tracks down her face no longer are there, and her eyes no longer look cloudy. They're very clear, and she has lots of energy. I'm really impressed with this product.
I introduced the Mush Puppy treats to my dog. He's a very old dog. He's been a lot more energetic. He's definitely improved a lot.
She's 16 years old, and 2 years ago, we got a diagnosis for Zenta as her pod pads were peeling off, that she has an autoimmune disease. The vet said, we can just go ahead and relieve her of her miseries now. And so we just didn't feel like it was time. A great friend came by and said, look, I think that this might be helpful for Zenta. Within a week, we were already backing down on her medications. Here we are today. Zenta is completely medicine-free. 2 years later, she just went on a desert hike with us yesterday for 5 miles and did absolutely amazing. We're so grateful to Pet Club 24/7 for giving her absolute quality of life over these last 2 years. It's been amazing, and we can't wait to see what's in store for us in the future.
She had some issues up and down the stairs, getting in her favorite chair. About 2 weeks after using the Mush Puppies, because she jumped in that chair and never missed a beat. I am convinced and 100% happy that we started using these products, because you can see in her face, in her eyes, that she's just happy and she's not in pain, and she runs through the yard like she's a puppy again.
We found out that Roxanne was in complete kidney failure. I started giving Roxanne the Bucky Bites, the Mush Puppies, and I have her blood work done every year because we want to monitor what stage she was in the kidney failure. Well, this year, I was so excited because Roxanne is not in kidney failure anymore. I really plan on having her a lot longer. And she feels so good now, I can actually take her in her wheelchair to the end of my driveway and back, which is a pretty long driveway. And before, she really couldn't even stay in it for more than, 5 minutes.
So, if you're looking for somebody who cares about you and what you're experiencing, we can help solve this problem together, right here in our homes. You can become a part of changing the way that pets and their parents are treated. There are 3 steps you can take in order to become a part of the solution. 1. Get educated. 2. Do something different. 3. Pay it forward. They say that history repeats itself. So, if you choose to do nothing, you may continue to live with the same results. But if you choose to try and share these solutions, countless animals may be able to play again, cuddle again, and do what they do best, unconditionally love again. Be the change today.
So again, guys, if you want to check out those amazing products for you and your pets, just go to justicerooms.com and justicepetclub.com. I gotta quit hitting my table, because every time the arms of my chair hit my table, it's like everything goes shaking like we're in an earthquake. So I'll scoot back just a little bit, and I'm going to try to get our studio kind of revamped a little bit. We've got some stuff that we're going to hang up behind us tonight, some really, really cool stuff, because I wanted to get this picture, and I was at where was I at? Hobby Lobby. the other day, and I was picking up Tracy some new silly putty because if guys listen, if you ever watch Tracing Justice or Fellowship in the Word when Tracy's on, you might hear like something like that, like little pops and stuff. But that's actually Tracy playing with her silly putty. She's done it ever since I've known her. She's done it for a long time. It's kind of like her little stress relief. But anyways, I was at Hobby Lobby, and if you see those mics right there that we've put up, yeah, right there, that we've put up, I'll have to get one of them tonight and show it to you up close because she's bedazzled one of them for her. So, but anyways, I found some cool pictures at Hobby Lobby the other day. So you'll see them tonight. I'm going to try to get them up in the background. I'm not getting rid of Boss though. Boss may move a little bit so we can fit some other stuff in there. But I'm looking forward to that before we get on Tracing Justice. All right, so guys, let's go through the chats real quick and let's get caught up. Then we're going to go into our daily devotional and let's go right into some J.D. Vance videos from last night from the Joe Rogan show, because there was some very, very, very interesting conversations that happened yesterday on that show. So we're going to start with YouTube this morning. So YouTube, Making It Make Sense checks in, and Messy 1969 checks in. Morning, God bless and praise the Lord. And Making It Make Sense says, good morning, y'all. It is going to be a great, great day. And let's see here. We also got the husband and wife teams of 4 Huskies. Good morning. It's going to be a great day. God bless America. Absolutely. Pilled, guys, if you're over on Pilled, drop me a little hey, at least. I mean, on Pilled, the chat is like literally right there. So just drop me a line over there on Pilled.net because I know you guys are watching. I see the viewers live on there. So let's see here. So let's go to Facebook. So Marnie checks in. She is our Facebook manager over there. So good morning, family. And I've got to brag on Marnie for a little bit. So if you don't know Marnie, because in all my infinite time that I have, Marnie actually manages our Facebook page, and she transfers everything that we do on X to Facebook. And I'm telling you what, I was talking to Jeff Peterson yesterday, about his Facebook, and I was like, do you have a Facebook? And he was like, yeah, and he sent it to me. And I noticed, I'm like, dang, we've got more followers on Facebook than In the Matrix does. I was like, wow. So Marnie, great job over there on Facebook. I very, very much appreciate that. And Lana checking in this morning says, good morning. And we got some love from Denise, Marnie, Dina, and Lana. So thank you guys so much for the love over there. Let's see here. Our Xers. Man, I tell you what, our X chat is sometimes just as lively as our Rumble chat. So we've got Wendy checking in this morning, says, good morning. Kelly B, one of our subscribers over there on X, says, good morning, friends and fam. And Spammy also checking in over there, good morning, family. And Preacher Seth, man, I wish you were coming on the round table tonight. He's like, y'all have got a lot of politic people on there. He's like, I'm just going to pass tonight and I'll just watch y'all. But man, we're going to miss you tonight. Preacher Seth says, God gave us another day to wake up. Whoops. Hold on just a second. I'm sorry. Wake up and breathe. And also, Kelly also repost the stream there, so thank you. Cindy Rocks says, it's a biblical day in the neighborhood. Absolutely. Trump's big address will be so good. And let's see who else we got checking in over there. Denali checking in over there. It says, good morning. And Lana also on X saying good morning as well too. And Landon says, good morning all. I tried buying Justice Shrooms with my HSA card. Okay, so HSA, I don't know if it's HSA approved. That's health spending account for those that don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask Hurt and Kristen about that to see if they have that set up yet or not. Because all it is a supplement. And I believe supplements are available on HSA accounts. So I'm going to have to check into that for you. So Landon, yes, I will check into that for you on that. So Neville, good morning all over there. And Pamela K, one of our subscribers over there on X, says good morning. And also kind of, guys, if you're on X and you're watching me, you're familiar with Rumble and stuff. When you subscribe to the Rumble channel, you get like this little special icon or badge or whatever you want to call it. You can do that on X as well if you go to my page and subscribe to it. I think I've got it set at like $3 a month or something like that. I actually lowered it since I went to my new account. Well, not went, but I was forced to my new account. So it kind of gives you, I don't really put anything behind paywalls on X, but it kind of gives you all a little special badge and recognition when you're in the chat, about that. So yeah, Landon, I'll text Kurt here in a little bit. Actually, before I forget it, I'll go ahead and text Kurt real quick and ask him about the HSA. There we go. There he is. Now, he is over on the West Coast, so it might be a minute before I hear from him. Okay, I'll send it to him. All right, so that's going to be everybody over there on X. So let's go to our Rumble chat, and that's our most popular chat. So we've got Freedom Fire checking in this morning. Funny story. Let me tell you a funny story about our Rumble chat. So, you can set up multiple shows on Rumble. And so I've got our Tracing Justice set up for tonight, ready to roll for tonight. Well, I think that some of us went over there this morning and started typing away, and there was like whole conversations going on over there. And I was looking at my chat this morning, and I was like, where is everybody this morning? And so they were actually over on the other show chatting, waiting for it to go live. So I thought that was pretty funny. So Freedom Fire checks in saying, hey, part of our Truth or Media mod team. And listen, guys, if you don't know, there's things happening at a rapid clip. Sometimes I can't get on and share breaking news with you. But listen, follow Freedom Fire and Truth or Media and Yeet Force, okay? Because their Fire OS system, they have got it set up for a morning, mid, and nighttime daily brief to you. And what they do is they don't just give you anything and everything that's coming out in the news. They give you the signal that's coming out in the news. They give you scans from official government accounts that's happening, wartime news going on overseas. They give you some financial news. So make sure you're following Freedom Fire 1776 and Yeet Force Anon for their morning, afternoon, and nighttime fire briefs. So that's very, very, very important as we bring that to you from Truther Media. All right, so Patriotic Lupa checking in saying, good morning, Onward Truth. Onward Truth, have you caught up on all your follow backs? It's hard, isn't it? It's very, very hard to follow everybody back when you get like a flood of people following you. So thank you, Onward Truth, for joining us this morning. And Danny 12662, hey y'all, good morning. And let's see, Seth over there checking in on Rumble as well. So thank you so much. A Dutch Rumbler says, good morning, Josh and everyone. I hope you can stay up with us tonight. I know it's going to be really late where you are when the address comes on tonight. I hope you can join it and see us because I think you're going to be witnessing history. So Deb L21 says, blessings everyone. American GG, good morning friends. And Debbie V57 says, good morning to everyone. Nana2112 says, here I am. She was one of those that were over on the other show. So that was pretty funny there, because I was like, they were talking about something in the chat earlier about me going in and deleting something. I was like, what are y'all talking about? And they were like, go look at the other show. And so I, as my ad was playing, I was over there and I just started laughing. So Christine G68 says, good morning, everyone. Excited for tonight. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. We're going to set some expectations for tonight of what I think is going to be coming down the pike. I don't know for sure, but I piece together what the admin is putting out, what Trump has said about everything, and we want to set some realistic expectations for tonight, okay? So let's see here. No, Danny 12662, not the magic mushrooms. I don't sell the magic mushrooms. So just to be clear on that. Let's see. My darling Sherry says, good morning. So excited about tonight. Absolutely. And who else do we have in here in the Rumble chat? It's hard to keep up. Garth97, good morning. Good morning. And Spammy checking in over there as well. Gosh, you guys are chatting away over there. Man, oh man. Leanne999 checking in this morning says, good morning, waving the American flag. And R Pierce 17 says, good morning, Josh. Good morning to you too. And Patriotic Lupa is now a monthly supporter of Tracing Justice on Rumble. So thank you so much for that. Miss B623, good morning and happy Thursday. And Mac 5x5, my brother from down under. So it says, good morning and stay on mission at give send go. So let me check that out real quick. So guys, if you don't know, we do have a give send go set up for Tracing Justice. You can find that on tracingjustice.com on that. So all right, so I've got to log into that. So Mac, thank you. If you did donate to our give send go, I very, very much appreciate that. And Patriotic Lupa also gifted 5 subscriptions to Tracing Justice. So those were claimed by Nana2112, Spammer Girl Q, A Dutch Rumbler, Debbie V57, and Mac 5x5. So awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for that, Patriotic Lupa. I very much appreciate that. And let's see here. Who else do we have? Brouhaha checking in. Brouhaha's an OG. So if you don't know who Brouhaha is, dude, put your X handle in the chat so everybody can follow you. He puts out some really, really good stuff. So I very much appreciate him. I'm just trying to catch up with everything. I think that's everybody. If I missed you, I didn't mean to. But we have got to roll on and let's get to our morning devotional. So this morning, we're going to be going over a devotional from Signal Over Noise, one of our Truth or Media contributors. And she says, state of control. Everyone lives under someone's authority. The question isn't if you're being led. The question is, who is leading you? We often believe freedom means having complete control. My life, my choices, my truth, my way. And listen, folks, before I go any further, notice that. I, me, my. But the longer we chase absolute control, the more we discover that something else is quietly taking control of us. Fear, pride, bitterness, money, success, approval, comfort. Sin never walks into our lives wearing a name tag. That's a good one. Sin never walks into our lives wearing a name tag. It whispers, you can stop whenever you want, until one day you realize you're no longer in control. Jesus said, most assuredly I say to you, whoever commits sin is a slave of sin. And that's John 8:34, New King James Version. Before we go any further, have you ever broken away from a sin before, and then your flesh gets the best of you? And it's usually through stress or something. You want to get your mind off something. So you look at that beer, you look at that weed, or you look at those cigarettes that you kicked 20 years ago, and you say to yourself, it's just one little drink. Or you've broken yourself from pornography or something like that, and then you say, it's just this one time, and then it turns into another time, and another time, and another time, and another time, and then all of a sudden you realize you're right back in that sin deep again. And then you've got to go break yourself away again from that sin. So Jesus said, I want to reread that. So Jesus said, most assuredly I say unto you, whomever commits sin is a slave of sin. That is so true. That is a hard truth. Because we like to think we're masters of our own destiny. But everyone serves something. The only question is, what sits on the throne of your heart? The beautiful news of the gospel isn't that Jesus came to take your freedom away. He came to give you the freedom that you could never create on your own. Paul reminds us, steadfast, therefore in liberty by which Christ has made us free. Galatians 5:1. American Gigi, we will keep you in our prayers. Sorry for the gap there, guys. I was reading a chat here. Everybody that's listening and even on the replay, keep American Gigi's family in your prayers. Her husband just lost his job Tuesday. Tracy and I will be praying for you. So let me rewind just a second. Steadfast, therefore, in the liberty by which Christ has made us free. Galatians 5:1. Notice something incredible. Freedom doesn't come from doing whatever we want. Freedom comes from belonging to the one who created us. The world defines freedom as nobody tells me what to do. The kingdom defines freedom as Jesus is Lord and I trust him completely. One produces anxiety. The other produces peace. Man, I tell you what, Seth Larrabee could probably do a whole sermon on this. He could tell you that when he was a slave to his sin, he was truly in bondage. And now he hardly has any stress now whatsoever. When we're having some issues in Truth or Media, he's like, Josh, just trust in the Lord that he is working right now. Something is going on right now. We don't pretend to know what, but trust him. The kingdom defines freedom as Jesus is Lord and I trust him completely. One produces anxiety, the other produces peace. One demands control, the other rests in God's sovereignty. Maybe today you're carrying the weight of trying to control everything. Your family, your finances, your future, your reputation, your circumstances. But Isaiah reminds us, you will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you, because he trusts in you. That's Isaiah 26:3. Peace doesn't come from controlling every outcome. Peace comes from trusting the one who already knows the outcome. There is only one throne that truly belongs in your heart. and there is only one king worthy to sit upon it. So today, release what you can't control. Surrender what you've been trying to carry. Lay your fears before Jesus, because the safest place you'll ever be is under the lordship of Christ. When Jesus is in control, fear loses grip. Pride loses its voice. Sin loses its chains. Hope rises. Peace settles in. And your heart finally discovers what it's created for. And I've said this over and over and over, guys. We are sheep. We are not camels. And what I mean by that is that sheep are not designed to carry loads on their backs. Camels are. What does God and Jesus constantly refer to us as? Sheep. And Jesus is the shepherd. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that analogy. It's not just cute. There's so much meaning in that. The sheep follow the shepherd. And when you stray, when you're the one of the 99 that stray, Jesus will always come to try to find you because he loves you. You were never meant to carry the weight of your own God, being your own God. You were created to walk with the one who already reigns over heaven and earth. Today, choose surrender over striving. Choose trust over fear. Choose Christ over control. Because the greatest freedom you'll ever experience is placing your life completely into the hands of the one who loves you most. Jesus doesn't control you to limit your life. He leads you to give you life. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not unto your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Proverbs 3:5-6. When Christ is in control, your heart is finally free. And for this graphic, for the people that are just listening and can't look at the screen, there's a graphic that says at the very top, state of control. You can either be controlled by the world or led by the king, and there's a split screen right here. And on the left, it says false control. You think you're in control, but there's a man in chains. Lies, pride, sin, approval, fear, money, comfort. You're not free, you're a slave to it. And then on the right-hand side, it says true freedom. You surrender and find peace, and it's Jesus sitting on his throne. It says Jesus is Lord. Peace, purpose, freedom, hope, eternal life. And it says you're not in control, but you're finally free. And at the very bottom it says there is only one throne worth giving your life to. And there's a shield down there. It says state of control. And it says trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not into your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Proverbs 3:5-6. Christ in control changes everything. Brouhaha says, did Freedom Fire make that meme? Let me make sure this is the one we're talking about here. Because this is Signal Over Noises meme that I'm showing on the screen. So again, guys, When you finally put your trust in the Lord and you finally give that surrender to the Lord, He's not going to lead you down a path that you don't need to go down. He leads you to the path you're supposed to be on. All right, so we're going to jump into the news now. And Signal Over Noise, thank you so much, so very much for your morning devotionals. I thought Kirk texted me back to give me an answer for that. And Mac 5x5, thank you so much for your $50 donation to our Give, Send, Go to help keep the lights on. I'm going to tell you one thing. There's been times where Tracy and I have been trying to figure out how to pay a bill or something like that, or do this or do that. And then Mac 5x5, I get an email saying that he's donated to our Give, Send, Go. And I'm like, there we go. He's been a godsend to us. Thank you so much, Mac 5x5. I very much appreciate everything you've done for me and our family. And again, if you're interested in helping as well, just go to tracingjustice.com and go to how to give. It's a big red button. Can't miss it. All right, guys. So news. So I've got a full slate of news here for us. We're going to try to get in some decoding. We're already 41 minutes in. So let's go ahead and get started. Alex Brucewitz says, new. Vice President J.D. Vance and Joe Rogan discuss a Time article detailing an alleged Israeli-funded influencer and digital media campaign aimed at undermining U.S. negotiations with Iran. No foreign country should be allowed to run influence operations like this in the United States. So let's watch this clip.
But I definitely think you have seen this very discreet, extremely well-funded campaign to try to derail the negotiation and try to derail the deal. And, there's this Time article that came out yesterday. A friend sent it to me. It's like worth reading, because it lists a bunch of people who have quite literally been paid by a former Trump campaign person who was himself paid by certain elements within the Israeli government. And those people are attacking me viciously for quite literally trying to accomplish the negotiation objective that the president set for the country. So
what is their position? Like, are they attacking you how?
Oh, it's social media posts. It's they're leaking to reporters. They're attacking me obsessively, saying that we should not be negotiating with Iran. We should just keep the military campaign going indefinitely, and that is their explicit position. And coming after me, saying that people have come after me and say that I'm influenced by Qatar, that I'm influenced by foreign governments, that I take my marching orders from Tucker Carlson, and there's just so much bullshit out there, when what I'm actually trying to do is accomplish what the President of the United States told me to accomplish, which is a settlement of this that accomplishes our objectives. Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon. We have the free flow of oil and gas. And like, I should be clear, I don't actually mind. I don't mind that let's say certain elements of the Israeli government want to criticize the deal or have disagreements about the deal. I don't even mind an effort to try to influence, foreign governments try to influence the United States all the time. Israel does it, other countries do it. It's just sort of the nature of the beast. What bothers me is actually when Americans meaning American leadership, allows that influence to affect their judgment and to affect what they are advocating for. That's what really bothers me. People are always going to try to influence the United States of America, whether they're allies of ours or whether they're enemies of ours. But again, when I open up the pages of Time magazine and I see that there's a literal foreign influence campaign being funded to tank the very deal that I was pursuing, and oh, by the way, many of the people who were receiving that money were actually attacking me in completely dishonest ways, my response to that is, well, go to hell. I'm going to do what I have to do for the American people. I represent Americans first.
I mean, we keep telling you over and over and over and over, and I'm going to put to rest another influencer campaign that's out there. I'm going to skip ahead in my agenda because I think it's important to follow this one up with what J.D. Vance just said. So I'm going to give you some advice, some unsolicited advice. You got a bunch of influencers out there. They flippity-flopped on Trump. If you ever notice, they flippity-flop at the worst possible times on Trump. These self-proclaimed influencers. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not an influencer. I am an anon that has come out in the public, and I'm trying to give you truth. I am rooted in two things. Two things. I'm rooted in the Bible, and I am rooted in the drops, the intel drops. Those two things right there. And I'm loyal to one person, and it's that man right there. I don't worship him. I'm loyal to him. Because every time that something, hey Osru, thank you for checking in over there on Rumble, and we've also got some late check-ins over there on X. So Cynthia's checking in, also Alexia checking in, and Jen checking in as well, and Mama Bear also checking in, and Maga Man checking in as well too. So Scout Mom just checked in too. So thank you guys so much over there on X, and Pamela K checked in too as well, one of our subscribers over there on X. So you've got a bunch of influencer campaigns going on, and these influencers are all about the money. They don't care about the truth. They care about the money. They care about your clicks. They care about your likes. They care about your reposts. They care about you getting all pissed off and getting in the comments and da 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 da. So here's my unsolicited advice. Find yourself people out there that want to constantly push truth. Hey, Maligator5, good morning on X. They want to push truth out to you. They want to dig deeper. They want to go past the headline and explain stuff to you. And even in our own community, you want somebody that's going to explain a drop to you, or explain news unlocks the map, and not just a bunch of sensationalism. And like I said, we're going to go over some expectations for tonight. So just, again, be careful who you follow. Be careful of people that speak from authority, that say, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. My inside sources tell me this is going to happen. And then when you ask them about their inside sources, they say, I can't tell you that. What? You can't tell me that? But we were told not to do the trust me bros. I kind of want a little facts. Well, I can't tell you that. This is going to happen. And then it never happens. The goalpost gets moved. Nino Rodriguez moves the goalpost yet again. Or somebody says, oh, Tina Peters is coming out in 2 weeks. That was 2 years ago. Yeah, she finally got out. Just be careful of those speaking from authority on things that don't show you the facts to back up what they're saying. And they just say, trust me, bro. My sources are saying this and my sources are saying that. It's no better than the MSM. Because all that has happened, gosh, Let's go to the drops real quick. Guys, I know I'm getting on my soapbox, but I just think it's important to kind of tell you the guys this drop right here. I got to find it, though. Give me just 1 second. Because it directly ties into what J.D. Vance was saying. Dang. I thought I would. Here we go. Let me just, instead of sharing my screen, let me clip it real quick and I'll just put it on the screen. Save. There we go. All right. So remember, we just got done talking about influencer campaigns. J.D. Vance talking about influencer campaigns. Post 1871. Example 1-to-1. Mossad, M-O-S, that's what that stands for. Mossad's at the very top. Okay? And then it branches down into alt plus U.S. media, and then U.S. politicians. Debbie V57, Josh, could you just get rid of the chair and get a soapbox? That would be fine with me. I try not to harp too much, but this is important stuff, though. You need to realize this stuff, okay? Alt plus U.S. media, and then U.S. politicians, and then it goes down the line. And it says those who scream the loudest find the connections, 1-to-1 to 1-to-1. The primary turns into affiliate A to affiliate B to affiliate C. Marching to the same beat, coincidence, logical thinking. Q. So one thing that this post was pointing at from back in the day was Alex Jones. Alex Jones has his own network. Hey, Osru, thank you so much for the $10 Rumble rant over there. God bless you, sir. I very much appreciate that. Or I don't know if that's a sir or a ma'am, but thank you so much. So you got to think that it starts at the top and then it funnels its way down. No better than when the 4 a.m. talking points comes out for the MSM. These people charade themselves around MAGA, and then they push all this stuff out. So, example, let's go through this, and let me skip ahead, okay? I will have to share my screen now, so give me just 1 second. Okay, hold on just 1 second, guys. Okay, here we go. So first off, I want to credit Erica here, because she dove past what everybody is seeing about this. Have you guys seen the whole push about, the U.S. is merging the military with Israel? That whole push? Okay, that's fake. And I'm going to give you some receipts right here on why it's fake. Because they do not give you the entire story. All they give you is a sensationalism headline to get you stirred up in your feelings and try to divide you away from the admin on what they're doing. Okay? So Erica says you're being lied to about the phrase merging our military with Israel. Reality is it's our off-ramp from cash being handed over to a transition of mutual investment. So what have you seen POTUS doing? He's all about investments in the United States. From, all these corporations, all these countries are just funneling money left and right, up and down in the United States. And one criticism he's had is, why are we giving these countries all this money for free? Why? So here's what's going on, guys. Let me see if I can increase this. No, it's not going to increase anymore. Okay, so we all know about Section 224 of the House National Defense Authorization Act. Okay, everybody's saying, "Oh my God, we're giving our military to Israel." Incorrect. So, financial year 2027 National Defense Authorization Act is titled the United States-Israel Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative. It does not merge the U.S. and Israeli militaries into a single force, but it would significantly expand and formalize cooperation in defense technology, research, procurement, and industrial integration. Here's what it does in practical terms. Create a formal U.S.-Israel Defense Technology Initiative. The bill directs the Department of Defense to establish an official framework for a long-term cooperation instead of relying on separate agreements for each project. Expand joint research and development. It encourages collaborative work on technologies including artificial intelligence, autonomous systems, cybersecurity, quantum technologies, directed energy, missile defense, counter-drone systems, and electronic warfare. The intent is to accelerate development by having U.S. and Israeli government, academic, and private sector organizations work together. Number 3, move technology from research into procurement. Rather than stopping at research, the initiative seeks to transition successful technologies into actual military acquisition programs. That means jointly developed systems could be purchased and fielded more quickly. Number 4, increase industrial cooperation. This section includes joint ventures, licensing agreements, co-production, manufacturing partnerships, and collaboration between defense companies in both countries. Now, listen, that's the key word, defense companies. So, like Lockheed Martin would work with the Israeli government, okay, instead of just handing them piles and piles and piles and piles of cash every year. Number 5, designate a senior DoD coordinator. The senior Department of Defense official would oversee implementation, coordinate across agencies, and serve as a central point in the initiative. Number 6, protect sensitive technology. The proposal also directs that collaboration be conducted in a way that protects classified information, sensitive technologies, and the national security interests of both countries. It does not state that all U.S. military data or classified systems would automatically be shared. Technology sharing would still be governed by the existing security laws and export control requirements. So again, that's another myth just busted right there. Why it's controversial. Supporters argue it would speed innovation, improve interoperability, strengthen missile defense and cyber capabilities, and help both countries respond more quickly to emerging threats. Critics argue it could deepen U.S.-Israeli military and industrial integration, increase technology transfers, reduce congressional visibility over some collaborative programs, and create a long-term strategic commitment that may be difficult to unwind. Those concerns are policy arguments rather than explicit provisions in the bill itself. Bottom line, Section 224 is best understood as an institutional framework of expanded defense technology cooperation. So, guys, instead of just handing Israel billions and billions and billions of dollars of cash and saying, here, just do whatever you want with it, we're stopping that. and we're creating a partnership. They're going to give us a little bit. We're going to give them a little bit. We're going to talk about Israel here in just a second. So it would establish a permanent cooperation initiative, encourage joint research and development, promote co-production and industrial partnerships, create a DoD coordinating office. So we're still in control, not Israel. And streamline the path for research to development. It does not merge the U.S. and Israeli militaries. It places one military, it does not place one military under the other's command, or automatically grant unrestricted access to classified U.S. military networks of information. Those claims go beyond what the legislative language provides. I am now under my personal belief that POTUS is in control of Israel. He said it. Bibi's going to do whatever I tell him to do. Heard him say that. So this bill is going to cut the teat off and the cash flow off to Israel. We're going to keep our money, you keep your money. But we're going to work together in R&D. We're going to work together in industrial defense projects. Nowhere in this bill does it say that it places command of the U.S. military under the Israeli control or vice versa. It does not say that. Facts matter. If you believed that, you've been psyoped. You followed the influencers. They played on your heartstrings. They played you like a fiddle. Because why? Because we didn't take the time to go and actually look at the facts. That's what they count on. They count on you being uneducated. They count on you getting all pissed off at the very mention of Israel now. Guys, Israel is not the head of the snake. That's London. Israel is just like Iran, that Saudi Arabia was, that Iraq now was. They were just a hub for the deep state. And Trump has taken it out. Just look at Venezuela. They were a hub of the deep state. And look now, we're cooperating. We have a partnership with Venezuela. Israel is no different. All of this Jew hate going on out there right now, guys, the good Jewish people are not the problem. It was the nation state of Israel and what London created. That was the problem. And now I believe that President Trump has got it under control. I think there's still rogue factions, there's still rogue military leaders that are going to do their thing. And stuff's going to happen. Moves, counter moves, guys. Moves, counter moves. So if you're hung up on this whole Israel thing, you're not going deep enough. You're not doing the research you need to do. Yeah, I know Israel was safe for last. I get it. Have we already crossed that threshold? Because it seems like we're fixing to come into some major D-class now. So speaking of D-class, let's talk. Ozru says, love your research, brother. Just popping in to say good day. And y'all, my brother, MacPie by 5. I knew you'd be here. Much love. Stay in the light. Yep, you must watch AJP. That's one of I think I seen you in AJP's chat before. Yeah, thank you so much for checking us out this morning. Yeah, the Israeli people, Mac 5x5 says the Israeli people will be liberated. Brouhaha says Israel is where the Ross are hiding. I think it's where they were hiding now. I think we're cleaning out Israel. Just my opinion. It's my opinion. This is my opinion, okay, guys? I'm just kind of piecing some stuff together. I could be wrong. That's why we do research. Yeah, a Dutch Rumbler said, I once came across this Q guy who was spitting so much hate, I never went back. Just blanket statements of kill them all and stuff like that. It was awful. Yeah. Yeah. You know, and I got into this whole Israel thing a while back too, and Zionism and all that. And I don't support Zionism at all. I don't. I support the good people of the Jewish faith and pray that once Edenina, oh hey Edenina, thank you for checking in over there on Facebook. You know, God still wants. Hey, Ozru, thank you for the $20 Rumble rant. AJP, Army Brother, and Truther Media too. So, yeah, I'm so glad that we have merged our families together. It's been absolutely incredible. What was I saying? I lose track. I'm getting old. You know, it just about all this like Jewish hate and everything out there, and I honestly believe there's like a huge psyop, because I see it now. All these influencers that we are not trusting, all they do is like hate. And we don't need to do that. We have got to unite as a world and put an end to all this evil. Oh, here's where I was. The Jewish people still have souls that God seeks. That is the ultimate battle of good versus evil. And, you know, just because we don't agree with somebody's religion doesn't mean that we can't try to witness to them and try to turn some of the Jewish people into believing that Christ is their Savior and He came to die on the cross for all of our sins. That battle still rages on. It's biblical. Yeah, a Brouhaha makes a good point. There's deep states all over the world. There's a deep state in Israel. There's a deep state in the United States. There's a deep state in Australia. There's a deep state, well, mostly deep state in UK. There's a deep state in Ireland. Think worldwide. So what POTUS is doing right now, he's going one by one by one by one by one and eliminating them. In his first administration, he cut off the first side of the triangle with the House of Saud. Remember? Sword dance. Ah, la, 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 la. Yeah. He did that. First term. That was key. So you look at a triangle, and when you take off a side of the triangle, it kind of collapses in on itself. And that's what you're seeing right now, the systematic destruction of the old guard. London has fallen in on itself right now. It's like, look at it like this. The web, okay, it was worldwide. The tentacles were everywhere. Trump's chopped off this tentacle, this tentacle, this tentacle, this one, now this one. And they're getting fewer and fewer in number in the world. So how do we get to the root of the problem? Well, my friends, I'll tell you how we get to the root of the problem. Clandestine reports, I don't think it's an accident that VP Vance is on Rogan talking about election fraud and the importance of voter ID right before Trump's big announcement tomorrow. They timed this perfectly. Seeds are being planted.
That First of all, the idea of mail-in ballots for anybody other than people who are invalids, who can't leave their homes, or military, or people that, for some reason,
Absolutely.
they're serving overseas, they're doing
Yes.
something overseas, it should not be legal.
That's right.
And the fact that it became ubiquitous during COVID
Yeah.
is a giant problem.
Yeah, so this raises one of my total segue here, side point. But so if you remember in the aftermath of the 2020 election, where there was all this like debate about was the election stolen, was the election
Right.
not stolen, all the litigation that moved through, there was a case in Pennsylvania that like didn't get very much attention. And I'm going to butcher it a little bit, but basically it was a guy in a rural area of Pennsylvania saying, you're undercounting my vote because we didn't have the opportunity to do the mail-in ballots like they did in Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. And like the argument was a kind of disparate impact, right? The cities ginned up all the mail-in balloting and the ballot harvesting. You didn't do that in the country, and that hurt sort of our representation. So they take this case to the Pennsylvania courts. And what's crazy is the Pennsylvania courts basically say, you're making kind of a good point here. Like the ballot harvesting did affect Republicans in a more negative way. It did mean that certain people in the more rural parts of the state were underrepresented. But then the court conclusion was this is not a problem a court can fix. Like that's a political problem. Change your, local elections leaders, change your laws. Like that's not a remedy that the court has to fix. And so everybody saw that case and they're like, oh, the judge rules against Donald Trump, rules against Republicans for saying that there was something illegitimate. But no, actually, the judge kind of said there is something kind of fishy here. We're just the wrong venue to fix it.
Well, it's just very disheartening that you have to consider the fact that it's really possible that the elections get stolen. And the California one was a big one for me.
And why not just have mail-in, or why not just have voter ID?
Yeah.
You actually
that's
saw
insane. Not only did they not have voter ID, you can't show your ID. You're not allowed to show your ID.
You can in fact be like prosecuted if you try to force somebody to show their ID.
Which is seems like you want people to cheat.
Exactly.
And this is
All right, so we've got somebody in the chat. Let's address them. All right, so I don't know. Donald is awakening some. Okay, so is the Hormuz Strait open? Yes, to the proper ships. Yes, the proper ships are being guided through. Did you know that? Yes, oil is making it through the Strait of Hormuz, just not by Iran. We're locking them down. He said, remember when Trump stupidly asked what they would, who thought that they would close the strait? Listen, Donald Trump knew that they were going to close the strait. Why do you think we made the partnership with Venezuela? All you do is want to listen to mainstream media talking points. And you don't do your own research. We get 3% of our oil from the Strait of Hormuz. So ask yourself why. Why are all these gas companies charging all this exorbitant prices at the pump when we only get 3% of our oil from Hormuz? You know why? Because of OPEC. And what just happened yesterday? Iraq was liberated from OPEC. Guess what? Trump's making the new OPEC. The Venezuela people are making money hand over fist. Go look it up. Go research it. Quit listening to MSM. Quit listening to the little black box on your screen. They lied to you. Yeah, guess what? Hey, Donald is awakening. Guess what? We're the largest exporter. Go look at the numbers. Not even the MSM will combat that. The reason your gas prices are so high is because these companies will not give Donald Trump a victory. What else you got? Trump's meme coin, I don't care what he does with his business. That's his business. That's not the government's money. So why are you even bringing that up? No, 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 no. Don't delete him. Don't delete him. I want to see all this mess that he's spewing out here. Let's see what else we got. Let me go back through his dumb comments here. Let's see here. Are we still winning the Iran war? Well, guess what? We were able to drive our ships right up into their ports and launch missiles. Did you know that? So if we're not winning the war over there in the operation, how the hell are we driving our ships right up into Iran? And guess what? No military casualties. And guess what? No Iran civilian casualties, because guess what? Precise precision strikes. Iran has nothing left. And when you say he claimed regime change, what you're seeing right now is the power struggle in the Iranian military, because part of the Iranian military is still taking orders from London. At some point, the generals will stop and go with the will of the Iranian people, which support Donald Trump. Go look it up on TikTok. All these Iranian people saying, please, Donald Trump, save us. So you tell me what supporting facts that you have that we are losing this war, other than CNN saying that it's out of control. Yeah, you want to call me names and stuff like that. That's all you guys do. I produce fact after fact after fact after fact, and all you want to do is call me names. Playbook known. Now, mods, get rid of him. I just addressed everything that he had to say. What has Trump done for the Iranian people? Nothing. He's giving them a path to take back their country. We don't operate anymore like we used to with color revolutions. We're taking out the military. The strategic strikes on Iran is obliterated them. They have no more Navy. They have no more Air Force. And guess what? He's fixing to take out the oil fields now. He told us that last night. I just taught you a lesson. You ain't taught me nothing. I just countered every point that you had in my chat with facts. What else you got? Let me go through this full stuff. The Venezuelan people are being prosperous right now. They're rebuilding their country because of all the money they're making now. Because guess what? The Venezuelan people used to give their oil away to Cuba for free, a ton of it. Now they're making money off of it. Now we're in a partnership making money with Venezuela and their government. Now we have oil supplies where you don't have to rely on the Middle East. That's what's happening, the Trump reset right now. The world is being reset away from OPEC and the thumb that they keep us under with the oil prices and that whole entire scam they got going on over there. No, we haven't received our rebate check yet, but guess what? You can go back in history. Trump just doesn't say anything just to say it. It's in the works. Let me ask you a question. Donald is awakening or whatever. Did you get a little bit more money back on your taxes? See, again, all you want to do is say names and call me names and do whatever, that you want to do. See, that's a playbook. That's playbook known. All you guys say that is we're in a cult. Cults generally don't spout off fact after fact after fact after fact to you. All right, so guess what? I'm done with you. I have proven every point that you just brought to me, I've countered with facts. I didn't call you names. But anyways, so let's, mods, I'll go ahead and do it. And you're gone. Okay. Let's continue on. So, election fraud and this whole what's coming down the pike tonight. So let's set some expectations on just what Donald Trump has said. Okay. He said that there's going to be proven tonight foreign interference in our elections. Now, does that mean that, well, Cassie J, I get it. I know he's not worth our time, but it's important that you know that when people like this come into your life, you have to counter them with facts. Okay? And not just block them right off the bat. So that's why I did that. There was a reason why, because I knew exactly where it was going to go. It was going to go to name calling and all that once I proved him wrong. So that's why I did that. Yeah, he's gone now. So Donald Trump says there's going to be proven, he's got the proof of foreign interference in the 2020 election. Does that mean that we're going to start rounding up people? All right, here's another one. Gone. I'm not arguing with you guys. I've got better stuff to do. So are people going to be rounded up tonight? Probably not. What you're seeing is the stage is being set. You're seeing that Trump is going to show you the evidence. He's going to get everybody talking about it this weekend. And the precedent is going to be set that we've got to do something. So what is that going to do? I'm just spitballing here. This is my opinion. Maybe Trump is going to come in Monday and say, well, if we ain't going to pass SAVE Act, maybe we need to do something else. I just proved that our elections were targeted and attacked. And American people, if you didn't know this, our elections are considered critical. Hold on, there's another one. Give me just a second, guys. I must be over the target today. They're coming out of the woodwork. So our elections are critical infrastructure. And when one of those is attacked, it is an act of war. So Trump says, this is an act of war. Our nation was attacked. So I'm going to have to do something about it. I'm going to have to bypass Congress. I'm going to have to take action. I just showed you what happened. I just showed you where we were attacked by foreign entities in our election. So, the American people, that grants me wartime powers. Here we go again. There's another one. Yeah, they are getting me off my game. I've just showed you the foreign interference, so I have to do an emergency declaration, and I've got to take actions into my own hands. This grants me the power. The War Times Power Act grants me this power. So I think that's what's going to happen tonight. I don't think it's all going to happen tonight. I think that tonight is setting the stage. We're not going to have people rounded up on Friday morning. I don't think if it happens, let's go, giddy up. But usually Trump doesn't operate that way. He operates by setting the stage, letting it soak into the people, and then taking action. Okay, so it's obvious that I am on somebody's radar because that is the 6th person I've banned from the chat today alone. Yeah, M Alligator 5 says on X, proven facts elections were stolen. So that's a good question, Cindy Rocks 260. Can POTUS also grant the SAVE Act into play once he declares a national emergency? Here's what I think is going to happen. I think that once this evidence is presented, then the American people are going to be like, holy crap, did you just see that? Why are we not passing the SAVE Act? What is going on? Congress, why are you not passing the SAVE Act? The public campaign pressure will go through the roof to get the SAVE Act passed. Ladies and gentlemen, Congress is not going to pass the SAVE Act. I hate to tell you that. I could be wrong. But in my opinion, once the SAVE Act passes, that is the end. Here we go again. There's another one. Yeah, I know, Spammy, you're trying. I get it. I can just do it a little bit quicker since it's right here on my screen. I can just go. So thank you for trying, though. I very much appreciate it. So once the SAVE Act passes, they lose. It's game over. Everything is over for them. They will never win another election again. The rhinos will never win another election. So the public is going to be like, SAVE Act, SAVE Act, SAVE Act. But they're not going to do it. So this man right here is going to say, I have to. Public, I have to do something. Are you behind me? That's how Trump operates. I have to do something now, public. Are you behind me? Take a poll. Do you support me in this national emergency? He always gets the public on his side before he makes sweeping actions. Always. All right, so let's move on to some other news. Well, here we go. So this, no, I didn't want to do that. Unpin. There we go. Yep, he's already been muted. Okay. All right. So here we go. The Bulwark reports Rogan. Most people think Epstein was Mossad. So let's watch this quick clip about what J.D. Vance says about it.
Well, most people think he was Mossad.
Yeah, Mossad or CIA or some other deep state, whether in America or Israel or another country, or both. Look, he clearly had connections to the highest levels of American intelligence. He clearly had connections to the highest levels of Israeli intelligence.
Yeah, I mean, the last picture he took was with an IDF sweater on. So yeah. So there's another clip about Epstein.
I had one of my guests try to get me to meet him.
Really?
Yeah.
When?
2017.
See, that's crazy to me, because at that point he'd already gone down for at least one sex abuse thing.
That was my position. I'll show you the emails.
Okay.
They're kind of funny.
Okay, which
I
guest?
actually read them on stage.
Okay, you want to say? Okay, fine.
People can find it.
Yeah.
I don't want to have the guy's already ruined.
Sure. But
dude, I Googled it and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
So interesting. Let's piece some stuff together. I got them. Hold on just a second. There we go. Piecing some stuff together. So 2017, Joe Rogan gets an invite to get introduced to Jeffrey Epstein. What else is occurring in 2017? Crossfire Hurricane. The plot against our president. All assets were activated. So let's keep on going, guys. There's more news. This one's going to be a little bit long, okay? This kind of supports what I've been trying to tell you guys about aliens. Straight from our vice president's mouth. Colin Rugg reports new. J.D. Vance pushes back after Joe Rogan argues that 10 Commandments should not be mandated in public schools. I'm sorry, we're not to the aliens yet. This is the wrong clip, but it's so very important. Rogan sided with very Christian James Tallarico, who does not want the 10 Commandments in school. So let's listen to this clip. It's about a 5-minute clip.
I had James Tallarico on the podcast, and one of the things that I think he has a really good point about, even though I know you're Catholic and you're very religious, putting the 10 Commandments in schools, I don't think is the right way to do it. And this is a guy, Tallarico, who was in seminary and is very Christian. Mm-hmm. He just thinks that even though he believes in the 10 Commandments, if you're just only representing the Christian faith in these schools, you're forcing your religion into other people's lives, and that this is going to push people away from Christianity rather than encourage them to pursue it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you never want to force things on people. And I think one of the core Christian contributions to Western civilization is the idea of freedom of religion. It's actually very much a Christian idea because you recognize the dignity of each individual. And part of recognizing that dignity is that each person has to find their own pathway to God. You can't force this on anybody. I don't think putting the 10 Commandments up in school is like forcing things on anybody.
But it's public schools. So, I mean, if you're going to do that, why not put Buddhist scripture? Why not put, Muslim stuff? You could make an argument why you should have a bunch of different religious tenets in schools.
I think in the Supreme Court there actually are a lot of different sort of historical, cultural, legal documents that are up there. And I want to say that Moses coming down with a tablet is one of them. But I think there actually are other cultural, maybe even other religious elements of this, like where you recognize that a big part of sort of the law-giving tradition in Western civilization is is some of these religious texts, not exclusively Christian religious texts. Obviously, some Jewish. There's like an important contribution from the Muslim world in this. So I guess I don't think of it as exclusionary, while also recognizing that America is a society. Our founders were people who were very much influenced, even if they weren't Christians. A lot of them, of course, were, but were very influenced by Christian culture and articulating American law. So my argument would be, even if you're not a Christian, like, does seeing the 10 Commandments, let me put it a slightly different way. Does seeing the 10 Commandments force religion on a non-Christian child? I mean, my argument would be no, and I'd illustrate this by saying, well, there are all of these ways in which you actually could try to force religion on a child, right?
Well, it's not the worst way to force religion on a child, but to have it and not represent any other religion. This is Texas, by the way.
Sure.
So what he's talking about was that there's these Christian nationalists, these guys that are very wealthy, that are trying to fund Christian schools and trying to defund public schools or any other kind of religious school.
I certainly went through an atheist phase in my youth, and what I would see that as a non-religious person or a different religion is I would say this is like an important cultural element of the Western civilization, which is the foundation of the classroom that I'm sitting in. And this idea that the law comes and is sort of above any man, even if you don't believe in God yourself, I think that's like an important concept. I mean, if you look at the 10 Commandments, probably 8 of them are something that I would hope that everybody would agree with, even if they're not themselves religious.
The problem is it's mandated. Like if you have a classroom and the teacher is Christian and the teacher wants to have it in their classroom, maybe that's one thing. But if you're mandating that you're going to have the 10 Commandments in classrooms, that's a different thing, because now you're pushing Christianity on kids, and this is Tallarico's position. And as a Christian, he's saying, I think this is going to push children away from Christianity.
So I understand what he's saying. I think that part of living in a society where you have different people with different perspectives, but you do have, I mean, Christianity is the majority religion of the United States. It is the religion that was extraordinarily influential to our founding, to the constitutional principles. Again, freedom of religion is itself not really a liberal concept. It was originally derived from a Christian idea about free will and the dignity of the person.
The idea of being exposed to it is one thing. It being mandatory is another. And to mandate that in classrooms is a different thing, because you're clearly promoting Christianity. And his position is that promoting Christianity in that way is going to have an opposite effect on children. You're pushing it on them. Instead, you're not just exposing it to them, you're pushing it on them. And especially if you're pushing it on children who come from a household that has a different faith.
I guess I just think the balance in our country the last 30, 40 years has actually been much more in the other direction, which is that we try to completely remove religion from the public square. And I think that poses its own problems, because, you know, people practice their faith in all kinds of ways.
But do you think that that's the responsibility of churches and synagogues
Sure.
and wherever, that, like, if you want, and in the community, if you want to promote religion, promote it that way. But promoting in public schools should be just educational. And if you're in a religious class, and a class is teaching about religion, that's a different story.
Well, you're right. It's certainly the responsibility of churches and synagogues and mosques and so forth. But I also think that, you know, the late Supreme Court Chief Justice William Rehnquist sort of said this, that if your approach to religion in public life always and everywhere is to push it out of the public square, then you're actually embracing a religion of your own in the public square, which is secularism. You're just
Right.
taking one religion and replacing it with secularism.
So I don't agree with Joe Rogan there. Let me say this. You know, I come from a Christian family. My mom and dad went to church, and, you know, we went to church every Sunday. You know, as a kid, I was like, gotta go to church again. But sometimes, you know, Rush Limbaugh said it like this: a kid's brain is a brain full of mush. It's a sponge. It soaks up everything that you give it. Okay? That stuff hangs with kids. It hung with me. I went off on my own path for a long time. You know, as soon as I didn't have to go to church anymore, I didn't go to church, because mom and dad forced me. But you know what? It hung in there. And I eventually came back. And if my mom and dad hadn't done that, I don't know where I'd be right now. You know, this country doesn't work without Christianity in it. You know, you can see all these other countries that don't have Christianity in them and don't have themselves rooted in Christianity. They're a failure. They're full of corruption. They're full of evil, child trafficking. You get it. The only way that our government works is with Christianity behind it. That's what our founding fathers based everything off of. When you start removing God from the United States of America, just look what happened. When we turned our backs on God, look what happened. So speaking of the shills and stuff today, I thought this was interesting. Let's read this drop. QPost 3014, the Moab. Anons understand now why they've been targeted daily by the fake news media and shills. Today they are learning the truth. You have been prepared for what is about to take place. Dark to light. Enjoy the show. Where we go one, we go all. Q. Thought that was kind of proper for what's happened this morning. All right, let's go to some interesting stuff here. Not that everything else not interesting, but I thought this was pretty interesting. Vigilant Fox says Joe Rogan presses J.D. Vance over his claim that the UFOs may actually be demons. The vice president does not walk it back. Rogan gave him 3 separate exits. Vance took none of them. And let's just watch this, okay? This is like, I think, 10 minutes long. But guys, listen, it's so good. Yeah, brouhaha. Yeah, it was bad back in the day, and they really cleaned up 4chan from all of the shills and everything like that. But let's watch this, though, guys, because, I've been saying this for a while. I've been saying, everybody wants to believe in, aliens and all of this stuff, and that points. There's a drop that points to, are we alone out there in space? And then Q says, no, consider the vastness of space. Well, that doesn't mean there's still going to be little green men out there. So let's watch this clip right here about J.D. Vance giving his belief on aliens.
Something that I thought was very odd.
Okay.
You said that you thought that they were demons.
Okay, I did say that.
What did you mean by that?
Well, first of all, there not just in Christianity, but in a number of world religions, there are a number of mystical things that happened, extra dimensional, extra. I'm not one of these people who's like a hyper rationalist. I think that there are things happening in the world that we're not always seeing. I believe in God. I think that there is a kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Not extra real.
Supernatural.
Supernatural. There are supernatural things that are happening. Okay. So if you look historically at, things that are similar to the alien phenomenon, where, some strange being, it kind of looks like a human being, but doesn't look like, but it's not human. And it shows a particular interest in human beings. And then it takes the human beings and, does weird experiments on them. I think my argument is that's either bullshit, right? You're either talking to a crazy person, which I don't like. I'm not saying just because I believe in the supernatural doesn't mean I believe in everything supernatural. But if we're talking about an extraterrestrial being that is human-like but not human, that contains effectively infinite powers and is torturing human beings, you can call it an alien if you want, but I think there's a lot of historical precedent to call that a demon.
Well, a lot of these stories and these accounts.
We have one right here on the,
demonic
on the coaster.
Alien. Yeah, that's the mothership logo. A lot of these accounts are not of people being tortured. They're people that are being exposed to information, like the Travis Walton story is a very famous case from the 1970s.
I don't know this one. I'm going to read about it on the way back, though.
It's this guy right here. I got a Travis Walton bobblehead. He's one of the most famous UFO abduction stories.
Okay.
There's a movie with D.B. Cooper in
And what is the information that they gave Travis Walton?
Was D.B. Cooper that was the D.B. Sweeney. D.B. Cooper was the guy who stole the money and jumped out of the plane. Fire in the Sky. There's a movie.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I remember this movie. I don't think I ever saw it, though.
1993. Good movie, but sensational. And Travis Walton says they made a bunch of shit up, and that's not what happened. But
yeah,
the story was that he was a logger in Arizona, and he was leaving a job. They were all together in a truck, and these loggers saw this light, land in this forest, and they went to go investigate. He jumps out of the truck, and he gets close to it, and he's hit by some beam of light and knocked to the ground. They take off, and then they realize, we've got to go back. We don't know what's going on. They turn around. They go back to get him. They're freaked out and panicked. They go back to get him. He's gone. The police interview them. They think that they killed him. There's an investigation. 5 days later, he shows up wearing the same clothes, and he has this crazy story. And he had been in this spaceship for 5 days, is what he said, and that they had fixed him, they healed him, and then they had communicated with him telepathically, and he had this very bizarre encounter with these beings that aren't from here. Or if they are from here, they're very different than us.
Okay, so I guess my response to that would be extra powerful beings, in this case communicating telepathically, helping people. Sounds like an angel. So I guess
Right.
let me
Right.
make the steel man version of my argument. It's that, okay, my dog, there's no real difference between me and God to my dog. I can literally walk into a room and turn the light on. I can make food appear instantaneously. I can transport myself across time and space very, very rapidly. If you're a human being with intelligence, but not supernatural intelligence, I guess my point is, again, this could all be bullshit. This could all be fake. That's a possibility. But if it's real, is there really a meaningful difference between an angel or a demon and a space alien with super technology? To our perception, they would largely just look like the same thing.
I think we're capable of nuance, and we're capable of understanding that human beings are far more complex and evolved than chimpanzees. And we could imagine a world where if we don't blow ourselves up and there's not a nuclear bomb and we don't get hit by an asteroid, if we live another 1,000,000 years, that we would have technology that's indistinguishable from magic. Right?
Exactly. That's
right.
exactly
But that
what I'm saying. And then we
mean
could
that
show
they're
up on
angels
another planet.
and demons. It just means they're hyper-evolved, advanced civilizations from somewhere else.
And what I'm saying is the perception of those beings to a more simple intelligence.
Sure.
There's not a meaningful difference. So you're like talking about what it is that these things actually are. And I guess what I'm talking about is, how would a human being with my level of intelligence or your level of intelligence in 2026 understand what's going on?
Right, but from a biblical perspective, there's a very big difference between a demon and a hyper-intelligent being from somewhere else.
I mean, a demon or a hyper-intelligent, malicious...
If demons are real, if there really are dark forces in the universe, and they're disembodied dark forces, these things that exist.
Yes.
And then there's also powerful light forces in the universe. That they don't have to be mutually exclusive to the concept of hyper-intelligent other species.
Absolutely.
When you're looking at an insanely vast universe.
I don't think they have to be, but I think that it is interesting to me that for most of human history, we would have understood supernatural, hyper-powerful, hyper-knowledgeable things as sort of celestial or celestial.
We would have thought of a cell phone as being sorcery. I mean, that doesn't
Maybe
mean
it
it's
is.
sorcery. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just technology. That argument doesn't make any sense to me.
Well,
and this is not discounting the possibility of demons or discounting the possibility of angels.
Well, I guess I understand your point conceptually. I don't actually disagree with it. So I don't think we're saying something different. That, metaphysically, there could be two separate things going on. There could be there could be extra Earth, outside of Earth space aliens, and there could also be angels and demons. These could be two totally separate things. One could be true, not the other. I totally concede and agree with that point. I guess what I'm saying is it's a distinction that is conceptually interesting to me, but if a space alien with like superhuman technology comes to the Earth and has malicious intent, I don't know how I'm supposed to tell the difference between that and a demon.
If they have malicious intent. But I mean, isn't that also the case with visiting people, right? Like you could have a country and you get visited by the Peace Corps, or you get visited by pirates.
Yeah.
And are the pirates demons? Is the Peace Corps angels?
No, but I think we're talking about something much different. I mean,
Are we talking about something different, or are we talking about a hyper advanced version of that?
We're talking about, I mean, as I understand it, we're talking about things that exist outside the United States. Outside of the Earth. Okay. And
Perhaps.
two different types of beings that could exist outside. I mean, okay, maybe
there's a lot of people.
Yep,
Tim
think that
Burchett thinks that they're here.
There's Atlantis, or there's something else.
Well,
like that
they're somehow or another they're survivors of a long gone civilization that live under the ocean.
Yeah,
it's just as kooky as living in
space. Here's the way I would put it: is like there's also a difference between a demon and a ghost, right? These things are two very different conceptual things,
right?
But if I'm a human being and I meet a malicious ghost, maybe I think it's a demon, and maybe all I'm saying is maybe there's some point at which the conceptually interesting, this is such a weird conversation, at which point the conceptually interesting discussion of what it is separate from how it appears to me and how I'm going to understand it as a human being in my particular social and cultural context in 2026. But if you're looking for me to concede the point that there is something different, or could be something different, between an angel, a demon, a space alien, a supernatural but non any of those other things beings, yes, I concede that.
Interesting, very interesting. So you can, let me get my words right here. You can, every argument that there is space people out there versus demons and angels, I think it's the same thing. I think that demons have given us knowledge, because you want to go back and think at the tree of knowledge. What did Satan want us to do? To gain knowledge, to be like God. So if I was Satan, I would masquerade myself as something else in giving advanced technology to humans. We know that the Nephilim are real. We know the Bible speaks of it. And that's where this whole battle about trying to discredit the Bible comes in. Because the Bible is the ultimate truth. When the Bible tells us something, it is the truth. So we know that the Nephilim are real. The flood was not just about everybody was evil. The flood was about that Noah was one of the last pure bloodlines there was. That we had to cleanse the earth of all the corrupted bloodlines out there that were the Nephilim. Think David and Goliath. So we know there's angels. The Lord says that angels walk among us. The demons have been here since the beginning of time. Satan was in the Garden of Eden. He had already fallen. That happened so much before God's creation. So when Q responds to an anon asking about, are we alone? No, consider the vastness of space. The Bible talks about the heavens above. Jack's just right. The fallen angels gave us things. God never intended us to have such the ability to make weapons. And have the ability to go to war. I agree. We're not alone out there. This is a spiritual war we're in. It has been since day one. God tried to protect us, saying, don't eat of that tree. You will know of your own sin if you eat of that tree. And man looked down and noticed that he was naked. Are the Nephilim still here? I mean, they did it once. God speaks of the principalities that run this world. You know, we don't have giants anymore. But it's maybe I don't know the answer to that question. I can't come from a place of authority on that because I don't know. I can guess, but I don't know. I still think that there's demons that inhabit people. Hillary Clinton, Barack Hussein Obama. A bunch of evil people in this world are inhabited by demons. Demon possession is a very real thing. One study they did when there was a study where they went around the world from different eras, the people from different eras, talking about their encounters with the UFOs. I'll have to go look it up. I've seen it before, though. But what a lot of the UFO people out there that did a lot of research on this and getting people's accounts, there was also a bunch of accounts of people that were abducted. Then they called out to Jesus. Jesus, please help me right now. And then they were instantly brought back. Account after account after account after account of that happening. You know, 100 people having that same account where they called out to Jesus after being swept away or whatever, and then they were returned. I don't know, you tell me. I can't tell you for sure. I don't know for sure. I can just tell you what the Bible says. I can tell you what I think. I tend to stay rooted in God's Word about everything. All right, let's keep on going. I know we're going on 2 hours. We might go a little over today. That's okay. I know everybody's got to go to work, and so do I. Hey, Christine, thank you. Have a good day at work today. Jesse Waters reports Hunter Biden said he's 100% run for president. Wow. Hunter wants to avenge his father, and he's ready to go to war with the communists. The communist plan is already in motion. Abolish Senate, Supreme Court, and the presidency. Yikes. Let's see what Hunter Biden has to say, guys.
Guess who's back? Back again.
Would you ever run?
100%.
Would you have fun?
Never.
What would you suggest that we need to do as a country to have move forward as a group?
Get in the streets.
Get in the streets.
Yeah.
Hunter's running. And he's running to save his party from the commies. The Atlantic says the Democrats need a new campaign strategy, and they want masculinity. We know Hunter's straight. We've seen the evidence. And he's out for blood.
I would tell him to go his self. That's what I would tell him. And please leave. The that he says about my dad, his obsession with tormenting my dad, hanging a picture of an auto pen on the colonnade, demeaning him, and all the things that he said about him. And anyone would expect me to do anything outside of which I would never do is physical violence against that person? Well, what kind of man would I be if I didn't tell him to go himself?
This is something.
Hey, real quick, Miss Hillebrand, thank you so much for your $5 Rumble rant. Says, I love your approach. Josh, God bless you for speaking truth. I have not been a regular viewer, but I am more and more. Thank you for your honest, godly speak. Thank you so much for helping us on our Tracing Justice channel. I very much appreciate that.
Straight out of a Greek tragedy. Both Bidens are now back for revenge. The big guy slowly creeping back into the Beltway.
Since I left the presidency, I've had a lot of people ask me, Joe, what have you been doing? I've been spending a lot of time with my family. I'm dealing with a cancer diagnosis, and I've been getting treatment, and it's been going really well. I've written a book about my time as president. It's called Promise Me America.
The book's coming out after the midterms. Joe knows the commies are going to blow it for the Democrats, and he's going to say, see, I told you so. I united both factions of the party, but you got rid of me, and all hell broke loose. But the Clintons say Sleepy's stepped in it.
The reason the Democratic Party is in the shape it is because Joe Biden wouldn't get out until July the 21st of the election year. All right? Had Joe Biden gotten out in October of 2023, we would have a Democratic president. Don't kid yourself.
As Reverend Wright said, the chickens have come home to roost. The commies are here to cleanse the Democrat Party so someone like Joe can never again be shoved down anyone's throats.
How many Democrats didn't want Joe Biden to run again in 2024, and yet the institution boxed out pushback or a primary process in order to force that through? DSA is such an antidote to that.
After the commies blow up the Democratic Party, they're going to blow up the country. They held a secret call last night where they rattled off their little manifesto. And it is crazy town. Play the tape.
So whenever people are like, oh my God, they want to get rid of the president, I was like, well, I don't know what we would call it in the future. We could call it the head honcho of whatever.
It sounds so radical, like abolish the Senate, abolish the Supreme Court, like et cetera, but it's not. Like those are the things that need to happen in order to have a political system that actually like works for working people.
For America 250, these communists want to get rid of the presidency, the Senate, and the Supreme Court. How would we govern ourselves? We wouldn't. They want amnesty for all immigrants, no border, no deportations. Medicare for all, no cash bail, defund the Pentagon, the Green New Dealio, universal rent control, a wealth tax, a 32-hour work week, and no pay cuts. And capitalism, that's gone.
What would it be like to live in a world without capitalism, to live in a world where you can take a day off from work, but you don't hate your job? And you don't have to have a job just to pay the bills because you don't have a lot of bills, right? Bills are no longer a thing because there's not for-profit businesses that are constantly trying to exploit you and trying to, put you into debt.
No work, no bills, no rent. Sounds like paradise, right? Even old liberals are like, I don't know.
And when you're hearing like Mamdani talk about freezing rents and taking bad landlords and then confiscating their property, you're like, this is step one of what's happened in every communist dictatorship throughout history.
Yeah.
This is what happened in North Korea. Give the government the land and we'll make sure that no one ever has to worry about food. What a great idea.
Yeah, man.
Look how it turned out.
They want to take away your right to vote for president, take away your doctor, your police department, your military. And this is somehow going to magically all work out. All these people pushing this went to college for a while. And now most of them don't have real jobs. They don't work. But they're going to tell us this is going to help people who do? Bull.
This is why I think the DSA types are a little full of when they talk about helping normal people. If you want to help a normal person, don't provide a corporation 9 low-wage migrants to compete against them when they're bargaining for wages. You actually give workers more power when you have a more restricted immigration policy.
You know where else things are free? Cuba. Ask the Cubans if they like all their free stuff. They're not here to help you. They're here to help themselves. But they don't want to work for it. They're too lazy. They have low self-esteem and they can't achieve the American dream because they haven't even tried. So they're going to force you to hand over your money, your property, your power, and your freedom by making crazy promises like, oh, they're going to take care of you. But look at them. They can't even take care of themselves. They get traction because they're passionate, declaring they're going to stick it to the man. Well, the man gave me a job. The man built me a house. The man got me a 401k. I kind of like the man. Maybe I am the man. Communism's actually just cheating. If you can't succeed, you just make other people give you stuff. Newsom's losing to Kamala so badly now that he's getting a little commie-curious. Watch.
Certainly nostalgia is not working. I would argue socialism not going to work. But capitalism as we know it doesn't work either. And so when we talk about rewriting or at least renegotiating this social contract and rewriting it as authors, not consumers, we have to fundamentally understand that it's broken and we cannot play in the margins any longer.
Capitalism as we know it doesn't work. Well, it worked for him. I'll give him this. Capitalism works better in some places, better than others. That's why people leave California to go to Texas. Knee pads is straddling this whole deal. But if you stand in the middle of the road, you get run over. Now, when I was coming up, life was expensive, really expensive. I couldn't afford a nice apartment, a nice car. I couldn't afford to go out to eat at fancy restaurants. I scraped by, I saved, I worked really, really hard for years. Didn't happen overnight. When I was 29, I didn't tell Fox I wasn't going to work 40 hours a week. I only wanted to do 32. I didn't barge into O'Reilly's office and ask him for half his salary. He would have punched me in the face. He would have punched me in the face. Now, life seems a little unfair or unaffordable when you're young and you're still in college and you're in debt, yeah. Or if you were born in another country and you come here and you see all of this fabulous wealth.
How we've gotten to socialism is somehow seen as this thing that's going to fix the United States. And by the way, the people who are saying it have all migrated from countries that are disasters to come to the United States, to get away from their country, to come fix the United States, the country that everyone wants to migrate to. It's a very confusing time.
And people coming from Somalia and Ethiopia telling us how to fix our country? America's worked out a lot better than anywhere else. The whole world doesn't come here because it's Somalia. They come here because it's America. And you don't fix what's not broken. Now, we're not saying the country can't get better. Of course it can. We have to tinker with a few things. That's what politics is for. That's why we kind of need the Senate and the presidency and maybe even the Supreme Court. Why Doge capitalism? And capitalism's kind of on a hot streak. Here's the CEO of J.P. Morgan.
We're sitting at the Philadelphia Navy Yard where we build ships. They built ships here that won the Revolutionary War, that helped win World War II. And so now you have this, the arsenal of democracy has been reignited, and shipbuilding, people said couldn't happen. There's 16,000 workers here. That number may very well double over the next 5 years as it builds more ships.
You think those people will want to work 32 hours a week? Nothing more? That's America's engine right there. And the Democrats hacked away at a lot of those jobs. That's why we have to dig ourselves out of this hole.
We ran the experiment of offshoring all of our industrial jobs, of becoming a services and finance economy, and allowing Wall Street to come in and buy every asset of modern life and turn it into an investable, line goes up asset. And what has that done? It's created a generation of kids who kind of are attracted to socialism. We have to fix that problem.
Now, the country knows we've proven that we let China and immigrants take our jobs in factories. That's understood. That's why Trump was elected twice. He'd argue 3 times. So Americans can compete against other Americans in a fair marketplace to work the kind of job that can pay the bills. Now, Wall Street and Silicon Valley are all looking at each other now, and they're thinking, what were we thinking? They cut checks to the Democrat Party, who for years told them they're evil and greedy. And they told them Trump was evil and he was a dictator. Now we're all waking up knowing we were lied to.
The reality is that most of us were lied to by the media about President Trump. And if you just go back to the source material, you should take away 2 things. 1, he didn't say half the things he said. And 2, why did these other people just fabricate what they wanted to say so that they could essentially assassinate his character? I think that that second thing is completely unacceptable in America, and there's still been no repercussions, really.
This country's climbed a lot steeper hills. And we know that the secret to success is you build bigger, you invest, you work harder, be creative, take some risks. Most importantly, be positive. The answer is not just knock everything down. That's for suckers. If you think destroying the country is going to make the country better, you're an idiot. Now, I don't even know who's dumber now, the commies or the Democrats locking arms with them. Now, why? Because the commies have energy. You know who else has energy? Hamas. They're saying they want to abolish the Senate, and the Democrats in the Senate are like, you know what? We're open to these new ideas. Big tent. Here's an idea. Join us. Fight communism like we did during the Cold War. Remember? We won.
He's right. We did win. We did win. One thing I want to take a look at before we wrap up today. So, Clandestine put out a really good post yesterday, a kind of a reminder. And this goes back to Trump's announcement tonight. I commented on his post and says, is 11.3 about to be verified? There's double meanings to a lot of these posts and a lot of these things out there. It's not just locked into one thing. So let's read. Let's read what Jacob says here. Anons, go back and read all the drops containing 11.3. All assets, foreign F&D, foreign and domestic, deployed. D plus China equals 11.3. Let's read it. QPost 4524. Good catch, coincidence. Important people understand for future events. Assumption or intel based. All assets FD deployed. D plus China equals 11.3. Q. QPost 26. Think about it logically. The only way is the military fully controlled. Save and spread once 11.3 verifies at the first marker. Biggest advance drop on poll, and what poll was the subsection of 4chan where Q was posting. I'm not saying this is going to happen, folks. I'm reading the drops to you, okay? I don't want to get your hopes up. My fellow Americans, over the course of the next several days, you will undoubtedly realize that we are taking back our great country, the land of the free, from the evil tyrants that wish to do us harm and destroy the last remaining refuge of Shining Light. On POTUS's order, we have initiated certain fail-safes that shall safeguard the public from the primary fallout, which is slated to occur 11/3 upon the arrest announcement of Mr. Podesta, actionable 11/4. Confirmation to the public of what is occurring will then be revealed and will not be openly accepted. Let's think about what might happen tonight. Proof of foreign interference, F, of the 2020 election. Public riots are being organized in serious numbers in an effort to prevent the arrest and capture of more senior public officials. On POTUS's order, a state of temporary military control, and you go back to right here, think about it logically. The only way is the military fully controlled, save and spread. Once 11/3 verifies as the first marker, biggest advance drop on poll. So we go back. On POTUS's order, a state of temporary military control will be actioned and special ops be carried out. False leaks have been made to retain several within the confines of the United States to prevent extradition and special operator necessity. Rest assured, the safety and well-being of every man, woman, child in this country is being exhausted in full. However, the atmosphere within our country, unfortunately, will be divided as so many has fallen to the corrupt and evil narrative that has long been broadcast. We will be initiating the emergency broadcast system during this time in an effort to provide direct messaging, avoiding the fake news to all citizens. Organizations and or people who wish to do us harm during this time will be met with swift fury. Certain laws have been pre-lifted to provide our great military the necessary authority to handle and conduct these operations at home and abroad. I'm just going to read an excerpt of this. Now, voter intimidation in national and local elections coming 11.3. QPost 4524. All assets F and D deployed, foreign and domestic. D, domestic, or it could be D class, plus China equals 11.3. What happens tonight if POTUS comes out, because it's been alluded to already by the administration, that China directly interfered in the 2020 election? Do you remember what we were talking about earlier in this episode? If China is proven without a shadow of a doubt that they have interfered in the 2020 election or before, which I'm sure they have, the rogue elements of China, not the part of China that is working with POTUS. What does that grant POTUS? What does then he become? What happens when critical infrastructure is attacked, which our election systems are? What is that considered? An act of war. I am a wartime president. The only way is the military fully controlled once 11.3 verifies. 11.3 equals D plus China. I'm not saying this is what's going to happen tonight. I'm just trying to piece some stuff together for you. We don't know what's going to happen tonight. Like I said, I think POTUS is setting the stage for what's to come. He's getting the public on his side. He's going to present you with evidence of foreign interference. He is going to get the public so riled up about the election interference, we're going to start screaming, "Save Act, Save Act, Save Act, Save Act." But it's not going to happen. Because once Congress passes the SAVE Act, they will be no more. The death of the D Party and rhinos will occur. They will not allow that to happen. My friends, you're going to witness history, I believe, tonight. I don't think that this is just going to be a nothing burger. Now, I don't think that there's going to be mass arrest and all this occurring. I don't know. If it does happen, wonderful. I'm all for it. All for it. But I can't speak from a place of authority because I don't know. I can just connect some dots for you. I think that Jacob's got it right here. But take D can mean several different things. Domestic and D-class. We're getting D-class every single day. It is your job to get that information out to the public. That's what POTUS needs you for. QPost 4509, go look it up. The mission. Stay in the signal, avoid the noise. Avoid all this Erica Kirk drama. Avoid all this Candace Owens drama. That's all it is. It's a big psyop. I see Jeffrey Peterson in the chat there. He's so right. He's been so right all this time. It's psyops against the American people to keep you interested in the circus and not paying attention to the signal. Your soap opera is just transferred from one thing to another. You went from watching General Hospital to Candace Owens. Yeah, please follow Truther_media on X. We're trying to keep you updated as much as we can on the signal that's happening at this point hourly. So guys, that's all I've got for you today. Again, tonight, Tracing Justice, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have the Truther Media Roundtable on. Most of us are going to be on there. And we will raid over to the Rapid Fire News on another Truther Media show once the time comes. And AJP will pick up and our panel will transfer over to the Rapid Fire News tonight. Yeah, Freedom Fire says we're telling it hourly right now. Yeah, while for him, Tracing Justice, what we're going to do is we're firing up 8 o'clock tonight, our normal time on Thursdays. And we're going to bring our panel on board. We're going to talk about, the speech that's going to be coming up. And then we're going to go to the White House's official feed tonight. We're not going off the MSM feeds tonight. We're going from the White House official feed over to President Trump. And then we're going to come back onto the roundtable and we're going to talk about some things. So again, guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight or this morning. I'm getting ahead of myself. Thank you for joining us this morning and for all the support out there. We had some trolls coming in today, endless trolls, but that's okay. That's okay. We know we're over the target when that happens. I mean, that's what Q said. So, truthmedia.com, if you don't know all the links, and if you want to just check out our shows on Tracing Justice, www.tracingjustice.com. We got a shop over there. We got ways that you can help keep the lights on over there. We've got all of our sponsors over there, so you please go visit them. We've done a lot of research into our sponsors, and they are true patriots that help this country and not just a bunch of BS thrown out there. All right, guys, thank you so much. I'm going to end us in prayer, and then I'm going to raid you over to the Real AF Patriot coming on at noon Eastern today with Keeping It Real and your most current news up to date. So again, thank you, guys. Lord, I come to you in Jesus' name, Lord. Hallowed be thy name. Lord, I pray for this country tonight. I pray that scales will be lifted off of people's eyes tonight. I pray for President Trump's safety tonight and the whole administration tonight. I pray that people will soften their hearts and see the truth for whatever President Trump is laying out there for us. I pray that this country continues to be restored on a daily basis by us hitting our knees and asking you to do just that, Lord. And we ask you to help us don the armor of God, Lord, and to wield the sword of truth, which is your word, the word of God. And we thank you for sending your Son to die on the cross for all of our sins and giving us a path to glory, Lord. Because without that, we could not ever be with you, Lord. So we thank you so much for giving us a chance to accept that from you, Lord. And Lord, I pray for everybody that's in the chat, watching the replays, that we're watching live, Lord, that if they're struggling today, please, Lord, help them. Or please give them a little clarification on what you want them to do in your path that you've laid out for them. Or if they're going through a tough time, Lord, that you help them through it. Because we know that you're always with us, Lord. We just need to look to you and ask you for help. And I thank you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, guys, thank you. Thank you so much for the Rumble rants, for the subscriptions, for the donations, for the visiting our sponsors and purchasing the products over there. It really helps, guys. We're really trying to make a difference over here. And unfortunately, world makes the money, or, money makes the world go round. So, thank you so much for everybody's support. And I'm going to end us with that. And don't forget, 8 p.m. tonight, Tracing Justice. We're going to be on YouTube. We're going to be on Rumble, X, Pilled, and Facebook. You can find us anywhere and everywhere now. All right, guys. And remember, let's go make fishers of men. Let's go save some souls. And let's go save the Republic. I'll see you tonight at 8.
You thought you could bury me. Thought the dark would close in. You were wrong. You don't know who I am. And you never will. You drew the line in the dirt and flame. They said I'd break, said I'd shame. Whispered threats through a locked back door. But I've heard sound before. You pushed and pulled, tried to crack my back. But I don't collapse like that. I don't run, I don't bend, I don't bow to fear of men. When the dust clears, you'll see you never buried me. We're not backing down, we're holding the line. Truth will be heard, not just whispered in time. You can't stop this, we will not fall. When justice rises, it answers the call. You thought you knew what I stood on, but this ground's been here too long. Stealing the blood, fire and breath, You don't know who I am. I don't stand alone. God holds my sword of truth.